This is a really nice task I like to use to encourage mathematical thinking over brute force calculation. So you can see we're faced with two very similar multiplication problems, but then specifically without calculating, can you tell me which one has the greatest product? And if you can work that out, can you tell me by how much? And then could we generalise the problem as well? So have a think, and then we'll go through the problem. Okay, so you probably want to start by saying what do you notice about the products, and quite quickly pupils will shout out at you, well, the numbers are changing by 1 or differing by 1. So they'll notice that the 183 has gone up to 184 and the 214 has gone down to 213. But that doesn't necessarily get them any closer to the solution. So what I like to do is write down the smaller of the two pairs of numbers, if you like. So we've got 183 compared to 184, and we've got 213 compared to the 214. So I'm basically using the smallest of the left-hand side and the smallest of the right-hand side. And this helps me get to a solution, because I'm going to write this twice. Then I'm going to say, okay, what do I do to each of these to turn them into the left-hand side and into the right-hand side? Well, let's look at the first one here, 183 times 213. I want it to be 183 times 214. So this is 213 183s. To get 214 83s, I'd need to add on an extra 183. You might need to spend a bit of a time here convincing pupils that this is equivalent to the product on the left. Here's 213 183s. I need one more 183, so I've got 214 of them. You might want to use it with smaller numbers to begin with. Once they agree with this top one, then the second one, they should hopefully be able to say what I need to do to make this 183 times 213 into 184 times 213. And hopefully they'll realise by now I'm going to need an extra 213. Because now I've got 183 213s here, plus an extra one, so that in total will be 184 213s. Now, crucially, this part of the calculation is the same for both. So now we can answer the first problem, which one has the greatest product? The one on the right must have the greatest product because we're adding 213 to it compared to adding 183 to it. So the one on the right has the greatest product. And by working out, by setting out you're working out like this, we can also straight away answer the second part of the question, which is by how much and how do you know? Well, this product's got 183 added to it, whereas this one's got 213 added to it. So it's just the difference between this. And you can see I've chose these numbers nicely, so the difference is exactly 30. So the second product, the one on the right, is greater by exactly 30. Okay, so we worked out that if we take the smallest of the left-hand numbers in each calculation, the 183, and the smallest of the right-hand numbers, the 213, then the difference in the product is the difference between those two numbers. 213 minus 183 is 30. But can we generalise that for any two numbers? So we're going to use Cuisenaire to help visualise this a little bit better if we can. So let's pick any two numbers and we'll call them A and B. And let's start off by working out the area AB. So this white space here. This is A times B, so this area, hopefully you'll agree, is AB. Now, on the left-hand side, what we do is start off by adding 1 to B. So we increase this length by 1, and how does that change the area of this rectangle here? And hopefully you can see that by adding this 1 here, the area increases by an extra A. So we've got to add on A to this area. So we get a total area of AB plus A. Now let's go back to the original AB and do it for the second number now. So we've got AB for this area. And in the second case, we increase A by 1. A goes from 183 to 184. So this time it goes from A to A plus 1. And by adding a 1 to this length, what do we need to add on to this area here? And hopefully you can see it's got an extra area of plus B here. So we add on B there. So the difference between the two areas, we're always going to start off with this AB, the minimum of the two numbers, if you like. And then in the first case, we're going to add on an A. And in the second case, we're going to add on a B. So the difference between the two products, or the difference between the two areas, will always be the difference between A and B. So the difference between them will always be the difference between A and B. You can even introduce the absolute signs here if you want to talk about the positive difference between the two products. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and as always, post any thoughts and comments in the thread below.